Today we are going to continue our discussion on module number 6, which is project leadership, ethics and project closure. In the previous session, we have started with the first part, that is project leadership and ethics, and we were discussing regarding the various aspects related to the project leadership. So we have covered some of the part related to project leadership. Let us continue our discussion further. The various responsibilities of project manager or the project leader. The project manager responsibilities are broad and fall primarily into three separate areas: responsibility to the parent organization, responsibility to the project and the client, and thirdly, the responsibility to the members of the project team. So, why we say project manager is a very key person in any project? Because responsibilities that has been shouldered with him, they are huge in three different areas with three different perspectives. He need to take the responsibilities. The first is the parent organization, the organization for which he is working, the organization of which he is the employee. So there will be certain responsibilities with respect to the parent organization. Similarly, as he has been assigned with a specific project, there will be certain responsibilities which will be related to the specific project, and also the responsibilities which will be related to the client of that particular project. And thirdly, there will be certain responsibilities with respect to the members of the project team, because he is the leader, he is the head of that particular project team. So being in charge of that project team, it will be always essential that the responsibilities with respect to his own team members, they must be taken up, and he must give justice to that responsibilities. So these are the three different types of responsibilities that need to be shouldered on, or that are shouldered on a project manager. The responsibility to the firm itself include proper conservation of resources, timely and accurate project communications, and the careful, competent management of the project. So when we consider about the responsibility with respect to the firm, that is nothing but the project manager must give proper attention or a careful attention to check whether the resources whatever are utilized, they are utilized in optimized manner. The resources must be conserved, the resources must be utilized in a very appropriate manner. It is very important to keep senior management of the parent organization fully informed about the project status, cost, timing, and prospectus. So the parent organization, whatever may be the senior management people, senior management level, it is the responsibility of the project manager to keep these all people, these all senior management level continuously informed about what is the project status, the cost of the project, the timing for various activities and the overall project, and the prospect, what is the progress of that project. Senior manager should be warned about likely future problems. So in case of any risk, in case of any difficulties, in case of any issues, the senior management that must also be given indication that what will be the likely future problems, and they need to tackle, at this point of time itself. The project manager should note the chances of running over budget or being late, as well as methods available to reduce the likelihood of these dread events. Reports must be accurate and timely if the project manager is to maintain credibility, protect the parent firm from high risk, and allow senior management to intercede when needed. So the project manager must have the feeling, gut feeling, whether the project is running on time or whether the project is exceeding the time, whether the project is running with the given cost, or whether there are any issues with respect to the project budget. So these all things, they must be taken into account when the project manager will be reporting to with the senior management. So these are some of the things which are very essential, and they need to be taken into account when the project manager is taking the responsibility of the project. The report whatever are generated by the project manager, always those reports must be accurate, because the accuracy of the projects, that will be indicating the credibility of the project manager. Because if the project reports are not accurate, if they are vague, then the credibility of the project manager will be in danger. Also, the reports must be submitted in time, because if the reports are not submitted in time, it will become a issue with the credibility of the project manager. Then, protecting the parent firm from high risk. So the risk may be with respect to not completing the project in time. The risk may be with respect to the cost of your project exceeding the budget. The risk may be with respect to the scope is getting diverted, or the risk with respect to the quality of the project getting hampered. So these all risk, the project manager should take efforts to protect the parent firm from these kind of high risks. How to select the project leader, or how to go for selection of the project manager. So some of the very important attributes, skills and qualities which are expected, which are demanded from project manager, and whenever the project manager is selected, then these are the various issues, these are the various qualities which need to be checked. The various qualities which are to be taken into account are a strong technical background. So the technical background of the project manager must be matching with the technical project is undertaken. Let us say there is a project which is infrastructure project, and if you appoint a project manager which is not at all related to the civil engineering and infrastructure management domain, then it will be very difficult for that project manager to handle that project. If you appoint some software project manager as the project manager for a construction project, then the things may not work well, because the technical background of the project manager is not matching with the expertise which is required by that particular domain. So the strong project management background, or the strong technical background which is related to that project, that is very essential. A hard nosed manager, a mature individual, someone who is currently available, someone on good terms with the senior executives, a person who can keep the project team happy, somebody who has worked in several different departments earlier, ability to handle the stress, leadership, ethics and management style, and sensitivity. So these are the generalized leadership qualities, we can say. So these are very appropriate when we consider the position as a project manager or a project leader also. But these all aspects must be in accordance with whatever project is in place or whatever project is under consideration. The next part is about the ethics in project. So whenever we say ethics, the way project is handled, the project is executed, the project is uh, continuously monitored throughout the life cycle of the project, the way we complete the project right from the initiation to the final stage, the ethics, they must be followed. And these ethics, the ethical way of executing projects, is a very essential part in project management. So another aspect of leadership that is important in project manager is strong sense of ethics. If the project manager himself is not having the sense of ethics, he is not having the ethical way of working, then it will become very difficult, and it will be uh, very problematic situation for that particular project, because there may be various instances where unethical way of working that may get adopted. So there is a considerable amount of attention to this topic in the news media these days, both good and bad. Some ethical missteps that are relatively common in business. One is wired bird bids and contracts. So whenever you are going for selecting a contractor, selecting a supplier, then normally the tenders will be invited, or the quotations will be invited, proposals will be invited. And if to whom that contract is to be assigned, that is already predetermined, then simply the process will be conducted just to show that we have done the process. But already the person who is going to execute that particular contract will be pre-decided, and this kind of thing is a kind of unethical behavior as far as the projects are concerned. Then buy in, bidding low with the intent of cutting corners or forcing subsequent contract changes. So sometimes we may deliberately put our contract as with uh, low amount or low financial requirements. So something which is done deliberately, something which is done to give favor to someone, to have, you can say, whenever the things are there which are not coming into ethical behavior format, ethical behavior way of working, these all things we will be considering that these are unethical. There may be some kickbacks covering for team members. So even though somebody is not working properly, you may be going for covering his mistakes, you may be going for hiding the lower performer team members, taking shortcuts, sometimes making a compromise with the quality, making compromise with the scope defined, just to make the work to get completed in the given time or within the given budget. So that is also an unethical way of working. Using marginal materials or substandard materials, compromising on the safety issues, violating the standards and rules, procedures, legal uh, formalities which are given, consultant loyalties, so maybe with respect to the auditors or the employer or the client or to the people. So these are some of the various areas where there are chances that unethical way of working may be adopted, and project manager will be solely responsible for maintaining the ethics in that particular project. A project manager, particularly in the public sector, may easily become embroiled in such issues like pollution, public safety, industrial plant locations, the use of public lands, and so on. So maybe in private sector, the project manager may not be having that many issues as in case of the project manager who is working in public sector organizations, because public sector organizations, the people will be always observing the work which is going on, and they may be having complaints related to the unethical behavior, unethical ways of executing the project, especially in terms of issues like pollution, safety of the people, safety of the uh, native society, safety of the people who are working in that project, industrial plant locations, the use of public lands. So the people will be always having some complaints related to unethical behavior in these all terms. A code of ethics for project managers was first created in the Project Management Institute PMI 1982 symposium on project management, and it is updated frequently. It is advisable or it is available to anyone at the PMI website, that is pmi.org. It is advisable for any person who is working or interested in project management domain to go through this code of ethics which are created by Project Management Institute, and they are not permanent for all time. They were first time created in 1982, and frequently there are revisions, there is updation in this code of ethics. So as and when the project management institute or the project management professionals, they will come to know that this is another area where some unethical behavior is observed or the unethical behavior can be done, so again the code of ethics will be modified so that that particular unethical behavior may be avoided, or uh, maybe or itself it may be treated as an unethical behavior. So definition of the unethical behaviors may also get updated in this code of ethics. Anyone seriously considering a career in project management should study the latest code of ethics. Code of ethics focuses on behavior that will lead to high trust level between the project manager, project team members, senior management, client, and other stakeholders. So when people will be ensured that this particular project organization or this particular project team is working in line with the code of ethics, the people will be interesting each other. The people will have a sense of satisfaction that yes, this particular project, there will be no work which will be unethical, there will be no work which will be considered to be unethical as per the code of ethics uh, defined by PMI. An ethics audit has also been recommended for non-profit organizations and a similar audit for any firm. So like we go for financial audit, there are certain quality audits, there are certain variety of audits available with respect to individual domains. Risk audit. Similar to this, for organizations, either in project or maybe any other work what they are performing, there can be a concept of conducting ethics audit and on a regular basis to ensure whether the works whatever are performed by that organization, they are following certain ethics or not, they are uh, working with the code of ethics keeping in place or not, or there are any unethical ways of working in that particular organization or that particular project. Multicultural or international projects. So next part we have to consider about is the international projects, or obviously as international projects will be involving people from multiple countries, their cultures will be different. So we can also call it as multicultural project. Sometimes these projects require cooperation by individuals and groups from different countries. They require cooperation by individual or groups in one country, but from different industries or even from different divisions of the same firm. So when I say multicultural project, not necessarily always it may be an international project, but in one country, again, if we take a country like India, there are so many variety of cultures available in a single country also. So the individuals or the group of people who are working in a project team, but they are from diverse backgrounds, they are from diverse cultural backgrounds, then again the project may be like a multicultural projects. Even in a single company, the different divisions, they may have their different way of working, different cultures of working. So again, that can be considered to be a multicultural project. It is not, however, the geographical or other organizational differences that matter. It is the differences in culture. Moreover, it is not merely the differences in culture that matters, but also differences in the environments within which the projects are conducted, economic, political, legal, and socio-technical environments. So these are some of the factors which are affecting the working environment of any organization. There may be some economic factors, there may be some political factors, there may be some legal factors, there may be some societal factors, there may be some technical factors. So these all variety of factors may be having an effect on the environment in which the project is working, and because of these factors, the working environment, working culture, that may get affected for the project organization. The differences in culture and environment are not confined to international projects. Different industries have different cultures and environments, as do firms from different regions of a given country, as do different firms from the same geographical area, as do different divisions of a given firm. So, as we discussed, not necessarily only for international projects, but within a country, different geographical areas, within a firm having different divisions, again the environment and culture that may be varying. While the impacts of these dissimilarities are greatest and most visible in the case of international projects, they exist to some extent anytime different organizations are asked to work together on a project. So if multiple organizations or multiple functional areas of a same organization, they are brought together and they have been assigned to complete a project, then everybody's way of working, every section's way of working, every functional area of working, every organizational's way of working and the culture, they may be different. So again, this multicultural aspect will come into picture. Inferentially, if a project manager must cope with multiple cultures and different environments, it follows that more than one organization is involved in the project. This fact alone complicates matter. If the parties at interest represent different nations, industries, and firms, the conflicts and problems besetting the project are greater by an order of magnitude. So, always, as a project manager, the conflict management is a very important aspect. As you go for multiple people to be involved in your project, and these all people, they are either from different nations, they are from different industries, or they are from different departments, they are from different functional areas, then the conflicts will go on increasing, the problems will go on increasing, because the order of magnitude of the conflicts and problems is proportional to the number of cultures which are involved, number of diverse backgrounds which are involved in that particular project. In particular, the conceptually simple issue of maintaining communications between the various parties become almost impossibly complex because of the diverse cultures. A very simple issue is very simple activity of maintaining the communication between all the people involved in that project, that itself becomes a complex process because of the variety of cultures. The project manager is advised to take on an international project with adequate preparation in the culture and language of the host nation. Lack of preparation is apt to cause cultural shock, which results in frustration, usually followed by withdrawal. So, if a project manager is assigned with a project which is an international project, so before he starts working on that project, he should make sure that with respect to the culture and language of the host nation, he has prepared well. Now, most of the students who pass out, they start learning German language or some other foreign languages. Why it is so? Because if they are getting selected in some company and they are asking that person to go for a project in some of those countries, then the host language, the culture of that particular host country, it must be at least not well known but at least fairly known to the project manager. If the project manager fails to prepare well, then always there will be some incident of having the cultural shock. There may be some frustration, the person may lose the motivation, and sometimes that project manager may withdraw, that I will not continue with this particular project. If there are no resources inside the organization to prepare those moving into different culture, outside consultants with appropriate knowledge and teaching skills are needed. So sometimes you may get some in-house expertise to make you aware about the culture and language of the respective country. In certain case, if these things are not available in-house, then outside consultant must also be appointed. The project organization must take care that they will make available the outside consultant to this project manager so that appropriate knowledge can be shared, the culture and language, it can be taught, it can be imbibed into the project manager. In most cases, the willingness to speak in the host nation's tongue on social occasions and for routine business will be appreciated by the host and earn goodwill from the indigenous members of project team. So always people will feel great when somebody who is at a top position, who is at a respective position, and he is not from your culture, but still he is trying to speak in the host nation's tongue, especially not in day to day life, not in day to day meetings, but somewhere wherever there are some special occasions, some social occasions, some festivals, at least that authority level, if they are trying to speak in the host language, host country's tongue, then the people will be appreciating that particular behavior. The project team, the organizational employees, they will be appreciating that project manager because he is trying to get attached with that particular culture. Like you must have observed nowadays, or whenever there are elections, especially in our country, whenever there are elections, because in our country there are several languages, the cultures are different. If you look at the various rallies conducted by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, wherever he goes, at least one or two sentences he tries to speak in the language of the local people. Like now in West Bengal, the elections are going on, so he will start always his speech in their own language. If the elections are in Maharashtra, he will always start his speech with Namaskar Mitranno. So that kind of attachment to the local people, attachment to the host country with their own language, that itself gives a sense of feeling of getting attached with each other, and that makes your work very simple. Especially when you are in multicultural environment, the project manager must make efforts to get adapted to the situation, to get adapted to the culture and language of the native country or the host country. Sometimes the other type of project is about virtual projects. So when the project teams are not actually working physically together, but they are a part of team. And nowadays, especially in this pandemic area, pandemic uh, working, most of the projects, most of the works, they are done with virtual teams. Virtual projects are those in which work on the project team crosses time, space, organization, or cultural boundaries. So this is very important. When we consider the virtual project teams, we don't have any limitation on the time, we don't have any limitation in the space, the organizational, cultural boundary, geographical area, nothing. A virtual team may work in different time periods, may geographically dispersed, work in different organizations, or work in different cultures. So like in our normal day-to-day life in India, we say 9 to 5, that is our working period. But if you are working with a team and some of your members, they are from some other country, or maybe your client is from Australia, then you may need to wake up early in the morning at 4 o'clock and start discussing regarding the project with your client, because he is a part of your project team. You need to take consent from him, and he will be available at that particular time. So you cannot restrict yourself to 9 to 5 working as per your. So we must get adapted to the various timings, various cultures, various uh, way of thinking when we are working with the virtual projects. In all cases, the rise of virtual projects has been facilitated by the use of internet and other communication technologies. So especially in projects which are software based projects, the people who are from computer engineering background and they will be working afterwards in some IT projects, development of software, development of some platforms, then the emergence of this information technology and the speed of your internet, that itself is most critical factors for these virtual teams. In many of these cases, project team is often organized in some matrix type of structure rather than functional or project form. So when we say matrix, it will be a combination of functional kind of structure as well as project kind of structure. When complex organizations conduct projects, virtual positions are typical because projects usually require input from several functional departments. This creates overlapping and shared responsibility for the work, with functional and project managers sharing responsibility for execution of the project. So since we are going for matrix organization, so the person may need to report to the functional manager also, and may need to report to the project manager also, because he will be shared within the functional area as well as with the particular project. Some more narrowly specify that virtual projects exist when project team members are geographically dispersed. So simple definition is, when the people, the team members, they are geographically dispersed, there is no option other than going for virtual projects. Rules for success of geometrically dispersed virtual teams or virtual projects are: only use virtual teams for projects that are challenging and interesting, but also be sure the project is meaningful to the company as well as to the team. Solicit volunteers as much as possible. They will be more enthusiastic and dedicated to the success of the project. Include few members in the team who already know each other, and make sure one in every six or seven are boundary spanners with lots of outside contacts. So the team members, whatever you are going to select, at least few of them should be knowing each other. If everybody is unknown to each other, sometimes it becomes a problematic situation to work as a cohesive unit in that particular scenario. Create an online resource for team members to learn about each other, collaborate, brainstorm, and draw inspiration. So there must be some way, there must be some platform through which the people can know each other, the people will understand the capabilities of everyone, the people can collaborate, there may be some open discussion forums to brainstorm, and there may be some platform where the achievements or the credentials of the team members they can be put, and that will be giving inspiration for other members to perform better. Encourage frequent communication but not social gatherings. So the communication must not stop, the communication should be always in place, but social gatherings should be avoided, or frequent social gatherings may be avoided. Divide the project work into geographically independent modules as much as possible so progress in one location isn't hampered by delays in other locations. So the division of work should be done very strategically so that the work may be interdependent, but if somebody is lagging, that may not hamper the work of other people. They should be able to carry on whatever work is assigned to them. So this is about the second part of this particular module, which is related to the project leadership and ethics.